close this pod, one organisation that has spent a great deal of attention on their culture is Barwon Water and Barwon Asset Solutions. So it's my great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Tracey Slatter, Managing Director, Barwon Water and Barwon Asset Solutions, which is Victoria's largest regional urban water corporation. Tracey has extensive experience and diverse experience as an executive in the public sector leaders. Tracey is also a board of director of the Institute of Public Administration in Australia, the Water Services Association of Australia, and Zero Emissions. Water and deputy chair of Barwon Regional Partnership. Welcome, Tracey. I know that you're a strong advocate of culture, so we are excited to hear your story. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Corinne. Really looking forward to presenting today, and thank you very much for the opportunity. As you mentioned, Barwon Water is a large regional corporation. So our biggest city is Geelong, which is Victoria's second largest city. We also operate across the Bellarine Peninsula, the Surf Coast, and the Otways, with towns such as Colac and Torquay. We have just under 500 employees. Many of those are blue collar frontline workers, high vis, but we also have very a diverse workforce with a lot of engineers and scientists as well. So I just want to talk today a little bit about our OCI change and the journey that we've been on, and what I think are some of the initiatives that we've put in place that have helped us to grow. So we first measured and undertook an OCI early in 2018, not long after I started in the organisation. And I guess not surprisingly, we found a mixture of passive and defensive styles, but passive and aggressive defensive styles, but particularly strong in the passive defensive style. So quite a compliant culture here. Measuring it again just recently, we're really pleased to have seen in a relatively short period of time quite an extensive growth in the blue constructive styles. Green is still quite present, although it has contracted significantly. But really pleasingly, we're seeing the humanistic encouraging now as the primary constructive style in our organisation, and we see that as a really strong foundation to leverage off and grow into those other constructive styles. And as this, and sorry Amanda, I've got a few graphs in mind, so you will find it a bit dull. That there are growth in all of the constructive styles and reductions in all of the passive defensive styles. So the journey, and the thing that I would emphasise is the approach that I have taken is to always try to have an entwined and aligned approach between strategy and culture. When I first joined the organisation, we ran some focus groups. I wanted to hear from the staff themselves how they described the current culture in the organisation. So these words are the words that our staff described then. And some of them, you know, not at all positive, like stale, lazy, boring, siloed, rigid, risk adverse. I, at the same time, then asked them to describe, these are in a series of focus groups, our future culture. And I was really pleased to see that there's an appetite for change in the organisation. And I used that appetite to design both the culture and strategy journey with them. One of the big changes that our board wanted at that time was for us to shift away from being a traditional, fairly inward-focused utility to one that was playing a role in our region of addressing significant challenges that face our region, but within a global context. So we identified significant drivers climate change, population growth, and so on. And we designed our strategy around those drivers and setting quite ambitious goals like zero emissions, being more entrepreneurial, operating in partnership, and targeting zero waste. But most importantly, we identified that we existed to help our region prosper, which was a big shift from just saying we exist to deliver water and sewerage services. We developed then the strategy built out, and we developed ways of delivering on those. And I think what's really helped our organisation is that seeing those, what seemed quite unachievable, ambitious goals actually turn into achievements. And for example, our target of being 100% renewable by 2025 is on track to be achieved, you know, certainly in the next year or two, and well and truly before 2025. We've also been quite innovative in leveraging our infrastructure and creating partnerships with other organisations in our region to generate high value recycled products and renewable energy from our sewerage services, but also from other organic materials in our region. In terms of entrepreneurial, we acquired a subsidiary from Programmed in late 2017, which we call Barwon Asset Solutions. It's been a real showcase for us. It's saved Barwon Water, delivered a significant value, but importantly, it's also been a real opportunity to showcase and grow the culture. We grew women in that organisation from 3%, who were mostly in office roles, to 32%, including significant numbers of frontline staff and high levels of Aboriginal employment. We've put a lot of effort into helping our organisation understand Aboriginal values and Aboriginal culture, and bringing that into our organisation, and all staff participate in a cultural awareness program, which includes time on country with our traditional owners, the Wadawurrung and Eastern Maar, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I think one of the big interventions that we made was the real focus on being accountable for the behaviours. So a lot of what I've just been talking about is really about the strategy of the organisation. But alongside that, and as I said, intertwined with that, was asking ourselves, well, why do we exist? Not only why do we exist as an organisation, but why does our executive leadership team exist? Why do other teams exist? What behaviours do our different teams need in order to succeed and deliver on that ambitious agenda? And what behaviours will we no longer tolerate? Now, these behaviours aren't uniform for the organisation. Each team in the organisation was able to develop their own sense of what their team's purpose was and what their behaviours needed to be. We didn't even mandate that everyone should have one of these commitment statements, but because the executive leadership team had one, and we asked for feedback, and we asked for that feedback in a way that was safe for people to rate how we were going against it, it really became quite catchy. And not only did every team in the organisation adopt their own version of this, but our board too has now adopted it. And once a year they have a session where they give feedback to themselves and we give feedback to them about how they're going against their own behaviour commitment. So for me, this has been an incredibly significant intervention, and one that has kept going and kept being revised and refreshed over the years. We have also put a lot of customer focus into our organisation, and we were, as I said, quite inward looking, and we've become far more outward looking as an organisation. And we adopted our brand essence of we care. We care for our people, our customers, our environment, the community, our region and our home. And it's a word that comes over time and time again in the organisation. When something doesn't seem that important, we really ask ourselves, well, do we really care about this? And if we do, and if others thought that we cared, how would they expect us to behave in this situation, and it has been an absolute game changer in how we operate across the organisation. But one of the most significant interventions has been our internal leadership and development program. We are fortunate to work with a consortium of 3 different consultants, and they have developed up a program tailored for us, and it is absolutely built on the human synergistics circumplex and aiming to build those constructive behaviours, and it's using language that is also consistent with our strategy. And I think this ability to have an in-house leadership program means that we're all using the same language, we're all heading in the same direction, and the survey and the discussion around the survey results isn't just a one-off. We're building that language and that determination into the leadership program, and we've rolled that out. All staff have now participated in that program, and we're now sort of doing some refreshing masterclass versions of that. Amanda touched on this in her presentation, and I really support it. The idea of feeling like everyone belongs in an organisation and how you achieve that. Initially at Barwon Water, being in an area that is traditionally quite male dominated, there was a lot of focus on diversity. And when I joined the organisation, I was very familiar with why we would be wanting to pursue greater diversity and very supportive of that. But I felt the term itself wasn't helpful to the goal that we were achieving. And so we shifted our language to that of inclusion, that everyone should feel valued, celebrated and included for who they are at Barwon Water, and that no one should feel like they're not special and important and needed in the organisation. And it's been a real game changer. And our diversity and inclusion strategy is called Belonging at Barwon Water. I wanted to just touch on COVID because it would have been easy for us as an essential service organisation, I think, to kind of go, well, we have to sort of drop the focus on culture and strategy while it's all hands on deck just to make sure that we can keep operating. Well, of course, our office-based staff all moved from home, and we had to manage our frontline staff out in the field, delivering essential services, often working in cells of only 1 or 2 people at a time to prevent cross-infection as part of our business continuity risk management approach, and customer service staff working at home with kids and homeschool learning and the like. So it was a real sort of moment, I think, in our organisation where we asked ourselves the question, do we, dial back the efforts on strategy and culture? And we decided not to. We decided just to pivot, to use the 2020 term, to make sure that we supported our people at home, but continued our focus on culture. And our pulse checks really demonstrated that we were achieving that caring approach with really, really favourable ways, favourable responses to the surveys there. And we put in place a lot of mini programs to support people through that time. But at no stage did we drop back on our strategy and culture efforts, and all of those programs and all staffs and learnings all went online. The other thing that we did to help us pull out of COVID, and we're still doing, is engaging our people in the future. And we actually have very recently run a large face-to-face all staff. It was an opportunity to thank our people for their efforts during COVID, but also importantly to engage them in a strategy refresh. I think it's easy for us all to feel stuck and a sense of the challenges of what we're dealing with at the moment. And I think it's so important for people to feel appreciated for what they're doing now, but also to have confidence about the future. And so we refreshed Our strategy, our ambitious goals are still there, but they're on a second one-pager. But we really have focused in on the outcomes that we want to deliver to our customers, continuing to agree that we exist to help our region prosper. But in that time, we've identified what we think's our secret herbs and spices recipe for our culture, how we work. And we've decided that we're an organisation that does listen and learn, and that helps us achieve our best. That we find the way when things get tough, and we're determined. It's not any way, it's the way that lives our values, that helps our regional prosperity and delivers on these customer outcomes. So it's find the way, not our way. We strategically partner and we aim to perform at our best. And when we consulted our people at that all staff on this, after much input in the lead up to it, it was just overwhelming positivity towards it. And so we're really, really excited by that. Now, one of the things I love about Human Synergistics is that all of our efforts are designed to achieve a better performance. There is a means to an end. And so I wanted to share just a few of the results that we've achieved over this time. I shared a little bit about it before, but our health, safety and wellbeing has dramatically improved over the period. For those into it, our TRIFR has dropped from the high 30s to just below 2 in those 4 years. We have become a more efficient organisation with our OPEX per customer dropping, and our average bills. For those of you who are out there going, bills only go up. If you're a Barwon Water customer, in real terms, bills have been well and truly going down. And that's what we hope to continue going forward with, really bringing the best out of our people means we can deliver greater value to our customers and our community. And that's actually been reflected in the Independent Essential Services Commission's surveys of our customers. We have at times, and I've popped this up here, but during these periods, we were being ranked in Victoria as #1. We're certainly not the largest water corporation in Victoria. We're the largest regional water corp in Victoria, but not the largest in Victoria. And yet we're right up there, #1 in trust, reputation, value for money, and overall performance. And, we've continued to be in the top sort of 2 and 3 since then, as well as #1 from time to time. So it's bumps around a little bit, but basically we're right up there, coming from middle of the pack. So this wasn't where we were back in 2017-18. Reduction in complaints. We provide a significant number of hardship grants, particularly through COVID. We've really upped that. So they're really showing that we care brand. And I think, that's what people are seeing in our organisation. They're seeing that the things that we have said we will do, we are doing. They are not hollow words. They are words where we're determined and we deliver the results for. And I think that gives people a real sense that they're part of something far more significant and playing a really important role in our community. And recently, I asked our people again, how would you describe our current culture? And the words that they used were really, really positive, having a connection to community, being innovative, being trusted, being high performing, progressive, caring. These are their words. I didn't put any words in front of anybody. And I then did a bit of a back map against how they described it back then. And I've ticked the greens, and the ones that are green are the ones that I've said, yep, I reckon we've nailed what they were after back in 2017. And so it's super exciting because I think we've got a long way to go. You'll notice there in the orange, ambitious. I didn't colour that green. It could be thought of as a potential negative or a positive, so I wasn't quite sure, but certainly incredibly pleased with the journey that we've been on, and hope that gives you a flavour. There's been a lot more, but just a little flavour today.
Awesome. Tracey, what a fantastic, phenomenal story, and congratulations on all the outcomes you've been able to achieve. I think it speaks to the potency of role modelling. We've got a bit of time for a few questions and a couple of interesting questions. One is, what did you notice on the ground when the behaviours started to shift from green to blue? So from conventional to humanistic encouraging. What was visible to you?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. What we did see was people really wanting to contribute to the strategy. So instead of the strategy being something that was a document, what I was hearing when I was, meeting with staff out in the field was them wanting to show me things that they were doing that they thought were consistent in helping the strategy. And a lot of our renewable energy initiatives, for example, are out at the sites. And when I can never forget this time I went out to visit one of our sewage treatment plants, chatting to the operators when I first started, first few days, and they were really a bit sort of, I don't know, like almost negative about their role. We're the sort of lowest end of the pecking order, we're the yes kickers, literally. It's a bit of a joke, but sort of true. And I said to them, look, I reckon you might feel like you're the bottom of the pile, but you're going to be top of the pile with, as we work together on this strategy. And a couple of years later, I happened to be out there again, and we were launching this where we were capturing methane from the sewage treatment plant, turning it into renewable energy, running the treatment plant off renewable energy, and sending hot water to one of our businesses for them to use to wash down their business instead of using gas to heat the hot water. And like you could just see the pride in them. They're showing you around, and we're now operating this thing, and everyone in the town's coming to have a look at it. And, and they didn't remember the conversation from a couple of years earlier, but just this sense. So I think what I saw most of all was this sense that everyone in the organisation wanted to be a part of the strategy and contribute to it.
Brilliant. One more question, and it's a bit of a personal one, but what's been the highlight of your individual leadership journey?
Oh, no idea. I mean, Barwon Water is definitely the highlight. I absolutely love this role, because I think we genuinely are playing a role here in our region of the most significant challenges of our time. And whether it's caring for our customers as they've struggled through COVID, or making real changes to issues of emissions and waste, it's incredibly, it's a great privilege really to be leading an organisation that's playing quite an innovative role in our region. So I just think this organisation's got some special herbs and spices that I haven't yet quite identified, and it's one of those places that it's quite infectious, and it's really thoroughly enjoyable. But yeah, I just love the people here and our customers and our community, and the sense of being able to contribute to a better future.
Great. Thank you so much, Tracey. Thanks for sharing the story and your own personal highlights. We've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.